I will call to order the Danville Board of Education regular meeting for Monday, October 22nd, 2018. Welcome, everyone. Let's see, first we need to...
I'd like to make a motion to, for the approval to amend the agenda to change number 5 to change order number 1 for direct purchase order number 6, change number 6 to change order number 2 for Aurelia Design and Construction, add change order number 1 for direct purchase order number 11, and add softball field possible action.
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion passes.
I'd like to make another motion to approve the amended meeting agenda.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. All right, now we will move on to our presentations portion of the board meeting. Any board members have any comments this evening? Let's take you first. All right. Then we will move on to Dr. Shelton.
Thank you. So a couple of different things that I would like to comment about. One, I want to just say a few words about some of our sports teams. Our boys soccer just wrapped up their best season in school history. I know all of you are aware of that, but they finished at 19-1 overall. The Ads were state runners-up in the All-A state championship, and they made it to the finals of the 12th Division championship. So congratulations to our boys soccer team. Our girls soccer also finished a successful season with a winning record of 10-8-1 despite a couple of late season injuries. So congratulations to the girls there. Our football team has an open week this week. I'm sure everybody is aware of that before heading to the playoffs next week. So we want to wish them the best of luck there. Cross-country team has been doing well. I don't know if you've been following that. Hope so. And they go to regionals this weekend. And then our cheerleaders are gearing up for their postseason later this fall. So we've got a lot of great things going on with sports currently for our Admirals. I also want to give you a quick update on the principal at Bate. So this last Wednesday, the site-based council at Bate hired Chris Murray, our assistant principal here at the high school, as principals through an alternative hiring process. And so I'll just briefly describe that process. It is, of course, laid out in Kentucky statute. So through that process, the site-based council can ask the superintendent to go through a posting, vetting, and interview process and recommend one candidate to the council. The council then has the option to interview that candidate, and then they can accept or decline that candidate. If they choose to decline the candidate that is put forth to them, then they would at that point start the full traditional hiring process for principal. And so since Bate had Sherry Satterley still in place at the school, and since they would have her there until we had a principal, they felt like that they could try that process first, and then if it didn't work, they could go into the full process. They did state as a council that if they did not have the option to keep Sherry in the building while that process, they would have went straight into the full process and not tried that first. I think that the council was very pleased with their decision. It was a unanimous vote with the council. So I'm very pleased to have Chris coming on board as the Dr. Murray as the principal at Bate. So one other thing that I would like to give the board a quick update. So as you know, as a first-year superintendent, I'm going through a new superintendent training, and one of the things that I want to make sure that I keep you up to date on is the 7 effectiveness standards, leadership standards. And so here's a handout that actually just gives you a brief little update under each standard of some of the things that I've been engaged in over the last couple of months, and I will bring you this document each month. Just to give you a little bit of an idea of what's been going on. So, and I'll just go through so folks in the audience have an idea. Standard number 4 is on human resource leadership, and so of course I've listed that. I've led the site-based council through the steps in hiring. the new principal at Bate under that alternative process laid out in KRS 160.345. Some other things that I have listed, as you may have seen in the paper, but under Standard 7, which is influential leadership, I spoke with the Kiwanis a little over a week ago. And so I've just listed a few, bulleted out some of the activities that I've been involved in to kind of keep you updated on what's going on with each of those 7 leadership standards. And so I'll just bring you this document each month so you can see what's going on. If you ever have any questions about anything I've listed or you want more detail about that particular activity, I would be glad to talk with you one-on-one and let you know. So the last thing that I want to make a comment about is that I'm not sure if everybody's aware, I hope so, but this is Principals Month. So I want to just let everybody know how much we appreciate the 4 principals that we have. We have a couple of principals in training, foresight-based this evening. We do have one principal that's has a bug going through the whole family and is sick. But we do have, I believe, Leo is with us in the room. So if you would come forward and say thank you. Not going to squeeze around, but just a card, and we want to say thank you for all you do.
Well, thank you.
Thanks,
Leo.
Leo.
Thank you.
And so I'll get the cards to the other 3 principals tomorrow.
All right, great. Thank you, Dr. Shelton. At this time, we will move on to our student recognition. And we've got some folks out here, so just you, Leo? Okay.
Well, there might be more, but I do know that this month, the elementary schools were going to recognize students. And so I have 2 students that I'd like to recognize tonight. And what we did at Hogsett Primary, we took our Danville diploma skills, and I asked the teachers to find a student or students to nominate and recognize for their outstanding work towards their Danville diploma skills. And our first student that we're going to recognize is a kindergartner, and her name is Miriam Massey. So Miriam, if you'll come up. Let's turn and face this way. And we're going to get a picture. Here, let's do this. You're going to hold it that way. And let's stand right here and make sure and smile. And Miriam is receiving this award for taking initiative. One of the Danville diploma skills is taking initiative, and her teacher said that she takes the initiative every day to be a leader in the classroom and to be so kind to others, and she's such a great role model. So let's give Miriam another big hand. And our second award goes to a first grader at Hogsett Primary, and this award goes to Gus Singleton. So let's give Gus a hand. Let's turn, let's do the same thing. Turn and face. All right. All right, and Gus's certificate. Let's shake Dr. Shelton's hand. So, Gus's certificate is for perseverance, and you know, perseverance is so important because what Gus does is when things get tough, he doesn't shut down or give up. He figures out creative ways to get things done, and we're just so excited to be able to recognize Gus for this. And it's something, Gus, that perseverance isn't just one thing that will help you, it'll help you in everything else that you do. So don't ever give up. Keep that perseverance going, and congratulations tonight.
All right, thank you all. Next item on the agenda are personnel notifications. They're just attached for your all's information. Obviously, if you have any questions, just let Dr. Shelton know. Moving on to the minutes of the previous meeting.
I make a motion for the approval of the September 4th, September 10th, September 17th, and September 24th meeting minutes as submitted.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. All right, and then we're moving on to the Mary J. Hogsett project change order number 1 for direct purchase order number 6.
Okay, Matt.
So there's 3 change orders, but 2 of them kind of work together because one's a purchase order versus just the contract for the general contractor. So if you look at direct purchase order number 6, what that's doing is removing the material for that direct purchase order and moving that material into the contractor's contract. You're still getting the advantage of the tax savings because they did not. The purpose of the direct purchase order is to pay sales tax on that material. So they're foregoing that sales tax still. So it's basically a cost neutral change order. But number 6 takes it out and it's added to change order number 2 of Marilla's contract. So that full amount is moved into, so the majority of change order number 2 is that direct purchase order material brought in. So going from, is it okay if I talk about all 3 real quick and then go?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So if you refer from there to change order number 2 for Marilla, the first item is adding that material cost from purchase order number 6 into there. And then there's 4 other items. 2 of them are credits and 2 of them are ads. PR number 4 is we had the job to take there's an existing freezer sitting outside the kitchen. We're going to leave that freezer there, so that's a credit to not take out the concrete slab for that freezer. And then proposal request number 5 is when we had the original building and came to a point, and then we had the addition, I think it was like 1955 and 1965, we took out a wall between those 2 additions to make one of the big kindergarten classrooms, and when we took that wall down, the roof deck that went across that, they didn't really connect to anything, so it was just kind of, I mean, the bar joists were very close, but just the end wasn't really connected, so this adds a little piece of sheet metal that runs that whole length and just basically just holds that edge. There's not any structural integrity issues with it, but it's just to kind of clean up that edge. So that's number 5. PR number 8 is that we had in the existing kitchen, we had there's a little outdoor area, had that little canopy with a little half wall. We're going to close all that in and that's going to be your can wash area with, we're going to put a washer dryer in there and just kind of some other things as the entrance to the kitchen. We had in the job to put a concrete slab on that, but it's actually, because we thought that slab, the outside slab was a lot lower than the inside slab, but they're really close, so we took that out. So that's just another piece that we found that we didn't need once we got going. And then number 11 is the unit that we specified. Whenever we specify mechanical units, we have to give 3 different manufacturers, and they have 3 different manufacturers, have different requirements for different things. So when the unit that we're getting in the job required a concrete slab for it to sit on, and that's what that change order is, to add like a 17 by 10 foot concrete, 8-inch thick concrete slab outside the gymnasium. So that's Marilla's contract. And then change order 1 for purchase order number 11 is we have a 10 by 10 composite little deck where we're having that natural playground. We've got like a little play structure, and this was just a change in the lumber requirement. So it really is just a little cost. So that's just a credit for reducing that material cost. But because because they're purchase orders versus contract, we have to have different change orders for each one. Any questions?
I guess I need to go.
Yeah, we need to go back up to that first one, to number 6, and do each one individually.
Okay, I make a motion for the approval of change order number 1 that proposes changes to the direct purchase order contract, the Illumigard, that removes the full value of their contract and adds the value to the general contractor's contract in the amount of $8,388.77 for the Mary G. Hogsett Primary School addition and renovation project.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. And we'll move on to number 7.
I make a motion for the approval of change order number 2 that proposes changes to the Marilla Design and Construction contract that results in increased costs in the amount of $12,068.77 to the Mary G. Hogsett Primary School addition and renovation project.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. And now number 8.
Consider the approval of change order number 1 that proposes changes to the direct purchase order contract from Builders First Source that results in a decreased cost in the amount of $286 to the Mary G. Hogsett Primary School addition and renovation.
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion passes. Great, thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
All right, our next item on the agenda is the softball field.
So last week, we discussed the cost of the softball field at the working meeting, and we asked that we go back and look at some of the things that we had planned on maybe pulling out of the project and working on ourselves with our maintenance guys, or doing a direct purchase after the field is finished. And so that is what I've done on this document, but I've just now, before the meeting, actually shared it with John, so he really hasn't had a chance to look at it closely. But the things that are in red and a strikeout are the things that we hope to be able to take care of ourselves. And we actually, I took out the concession stand restroom building as well to put it, we're just going to do it as its own separate project.
So what you're looking at is that first column that says schematic design estimate. That's all the numbers that you saw last week. The second column is what Christie is proposing that we keep in, if you decided to bid, that we would propose to keep in a bid that would actually, we would have the field, it would be the actual field. And you can see at the bottom on page 1, what we think the estimate would be based on the cost from last week for just the field. And then in the next one, you see items that we think that we could do in-house, labor with our teams in-house. And then pulled out, which Christie I'm not seeing on here, would be the estimate of doing the restrooms and concession stand separately.
It's on the back.
It's on the back?
Yeah.
Okay, yes,
Had
bid all
it,
of it.
yes.
So that, yes, so that would be to bid that at a later date as a standalone bid. And did I, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am, and I appreciate your help in explaining that. Our BG1 that we already have approved and Katie has approved is around $647,000, I believe.
57.
57,000. Did you keep it? Did I hand it to you? Yeah, I gave it to Paul to take a quick look at it to make sure that it's still feasible and we really wouldn't have to do anything to that.
So we know that you've not had a lot of time between the work session last week and you just received this information because it has taken Christie and Paul the majority of the week to work with the numbers and to pull this information together to see if it would be, if it was even feasible for us to do some of this work in-house ourselves. So you may need more time to consider it, but I think the recommendation from the central office would be to pull out the concession stand and the restrooms, bid that separately, and then the items that you see listed in the last column for us to do in-house ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot that's been pulled out, as far as, things that you all feel like we can possibly do. I know I personally just kind of see these, I would like to have a little more time and discussion. I think really too, and just the reassurance that, yeah, we can, because what I don't want to happen is to then have to add some things back on. But this definitely helps seeing things this way, and it makes me feel a little bit better that there's some things that hopefully we can take care of internally instead of, and that definitely makes a difference in the numbers, the bottom line. And the rest of you all are
So
thinking.
yours, the BG one was for $657,000. And when you add the new total, the keep-in project, that total plus the restrooms, that's just about $50,000 more dollars than what
Well, but
BG
there's
one,
still,
right?
yeah, there's still the column
Right.
over here where we would pay for these things out of general fund as well,
Right,
in blue.
okay.
And I don't really have
We
all
don't
of
have a
those
total
totally
on that.
estimated.
Right.
Yeah, I would kind of like to see, you know, I mean, we've asked a lot of you in a week and you pulled it together, but I mean, maybe, I mean, we've come so far, I'd like to have some more firm numbers, I think. I mean, they're just estimates, but maybe at the next work session, we could revisit this and have a discussion with Paul based on those revised numbers.
Well, and I hate to call Danny Gayberry out, but where is Danny Gayberry? Oh, there you are. He has really been instrumental in helping me with this document. And, you know, one of the things that he talked about, you know, the seating, he does that for a living, basically. We buy the seeds or Bermuda Sprigs or whatever our latest thing is. And we know we can do that and do it much cheaper. You know, there's things that we know we can do. I'm a little questionable about, I wasn't sure what you meant on field preparation on your original. Is that after all the grading is done and?
And there's a certain amount of work you have to do to prepare the topsoil, just to get, to create an adequate seed bed. So there's time and a cost to that if you were having a contractor do that.
And is that something Danny Gayberry can do?
Okay, Christie, so if this were to be bid, we would be bidding exactly how many dollars are we looking at now?
Well, I hope we're looking at around $500,000, I would hope.
So this 471.56
Plus the,
is
41.
Plus the
Plus the
41 is
41 on the side.
512,381.
So originally, we talked about $600,000, and our BG1 is $657,000. That's where we are.
So it is, but Christie and Paul did work diligently, but it was a good bit to try to pull together in a week, and we could get some more solid numbers. So
Yeah,
I think it was very difficult for us to pull this much in a week. I think Christie did an amazing job to pull this together in the amount of time she had, but very good with us digging a little deeper. If you would like time to absorb as well, we'll be glad to bring back some harder numbers to the next working session.
That gives a little bit of time for next month, so to get those.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely heading in the right direction. It definitely looks better, it makes me feel a little bit better than a week ago, so.
Well, I want to just ask, I guess, John and Christie, if we delay this until the work session, how much does that put us off schedule? Because the work session is November the 12th.
We won't be ready for the season, right?
And will you be able to take action on it at the work session if you need to wait until the next board? I mean, that's really.
No, we can.
I think as long as we have the firm numbers well ahead of the meeting as much as possible, Because it gets to us to be a disadvantage at sometimes, so it's not that we don't trust things, but when you're getting things last minute, it makes it at least hard for me to make a decision when you're gonna spend $700,000. So I'm not against the project, I want the project. This has been going on for too many years. But I think we need pretty good numbers.
And these are estimates, as you realize,
Right.
as with any capital project. And if you wait another, say the 12.
Be a couple of weeks.
So a
3
couple of weeks,
yeah.
it's, in the big picture, it's not gonna really hurt things. I mean, it starts putting pressure on, you've gotta go through all the approval process. Our goal was to have the work completed by the end of the summer of 19. Would it matter if it pushed into the end of the fall? I'm not sure that it would, because that's somewhat out of sync of season anyway. So, and at the end of the summer is probably not the greatest time to be doing seeding anyway. So you might want to push it into the fall regardless. So, and it's not going to be done, obviously, for spring seeding. So I don't think a couple of weeks will really hurt anything. I guess the good news is that the way this is being structured, the way that Christy and Danny and Paul have structured this, is that it's still within the parameters of the BG1, and you still have time to kind of structure that, the documents and how it would be bid, putting whatever scope you want. So I think it's prudent to wait, but on the other hand, part of me says we've got holidays coming up, and to get approvals out of the state, but I don't want to rush.
That was my next question, is you probably told us this at the work session. What was the timeline on, once we put it out to bid, what is the timeline typically?
So once KDE gets
KDE gets it, and when will we find out the actual cost, for the?
Well, look, we were hoping to put this out to bid in January, first part of February, in anticipation of a spring construction start. Once you put it out to bid, I would suggest probably a 3-week bidding period. And then hopefully the bids come in well, and it takes a little bit of time to analyze it, and then to get board approval, and then you typically give a few weeks for the contractor to mobilize. So you can tell just by backing into it, February is not, we probably need to react in February and be able to get it out to bid.
Let me ask you this, the comfort level on these numbers, I guess some of it doesn't make any difference. I mean, the bids are gonna come in, and these numbers may not even be close, or they may be fantastic, so.
We hope they're close, and as we had that discussion last week, that's one of the more difficult part of a project, is projecting cost, and we feel like these costs today are pretty good. Will they be good in February? I hope so. They could be less. Sometimes February, the winter, is a good time to be bidding, but we know on bid day if these costs are good or not.
So, do you all still want to wait? I'm just asking.
I do, but that's just, I don't think that a couple weeks is gonna make that much difference, and if we feel like there's still some room to move some of this, then.
I'm just posing the question.
Yeah.
I'm not saying not to.
And if I may just clarify, is that even if you move forward that and submit to KDE, you have some pretty good assurances that you're under the approved BG1. So there doesn't have to be any action by the board to modify or increase the BG1. So, and we still, you have right up until bid day to modify what's in the scope and how you package this up, or what Christy and her staff and Danny will do. And I'm not by any means trying to rush a decision. I think it's prudent to take your time, but you're within, if we pull the restroom building out, I think we're within the parameters of what has already been approved, what you all have already approved as far as the BG1 and what the state has approved. So there's still latitude in determining what Christy and Danny do and what they don't do, and but I'm good with waiting also.
Yeah, and then if we still have, you know, and we're not saying I'm writing a check for this today, then, I mean, then we don't really know, it might be worth finding out what the real number, you know, going on to the next step.
Yeah, I think some of the uncomfort was the fact we just got this, you know, and trying to make decisions on spending this kind of money is something we're pretty conscious of. But if the BG1 was already $657,000 and this project numbers are still under that, and we're really not going to be committed to anything, correct? So what do you think?
Okay, if you all want to go ahead and go with it, I'll do it. I mean.
So that way we can get this thing.
I mean, I think we still have the latitude to still work with, you know, what can Danny do?
Super Danny.
Yeah, and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, if we're within that, we've already got
We can keep it within that. I know, it's,
Yeah.
that's my biggest thing, is staying within that BG1.
Well, the
And we
trick
won't
is,
know that
we
until
won't
the
know.
bids are in.
And you still have the ability to request an increase in the BG1 when you take the final bid in. So
If needed, but we have to put that one
I understand, but
Right.
you can if you
Right,
have
right.
the ability or desire to do so.
So we really aren't, I'm
What
fine.
do you think, Troy? You haven't heard much down here.
yeah, I'd like to see us move ahead.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and do it.
Since we're within
All
the
right.
means of BG1.
Yeah, we're still within the means, even though we want, and we'll get the hard number, so we'll go ahead.
I mean,
Let's go ahead.
last week this time, you know.
Last week, I was shocked it's been done. Nothing gets done.
But with
We would have to go
with the
back to the drawing board.
modification now, I mean,
Yeah.
that makes a huge difference. So,
Yes.
I mean, I'm comfortable with moving
So
forward.
if you are comfortable with doing this, go ahead and pull trigger.
Well, I'd like to make the motion that we move along with the project, and that the BG1 total is $657,000. And I'd like for the board to commit to getting this project moved, since we've only been working on it for 17 years. So anybody second?
Yeah, second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
So that gives us the latitude to submit the schematic design to KDE.
All
I
right.
mean, stop crunching those numbers.
And thank you all for the work.
Please, let's try to see if we can get this building with that concession.
Does Walmart have those in stock?
I'm telling you, because
Surely
I
there's
can,
gotta
like
be
I
capital.
told you, I can build a house for that much. I mean, that's,
Make it a big one.
yeah, exactly.
All right, moving on to the SRO update.
Yeah, this is an exciting item. So as you know, we, at the beginning of the year, we're down an SRO officer, or an SRO, and we worked with the Sheriff's Department, and we have had an SRO since day one, since school started. And I'm very pleased to announce now that we will have a second SRO starting November 1st, and Sheriff Robbins here, so I'd like to ask him to stand. And I just want to say thank you to the Sheriff's Department. He has worked diligently to not only provide the first, but also to provide the second SRO, and by November 1st, both individuals have cars, and just been very easy to work with and very responsive. And I just want to say thank you for providing that service to our school system.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
So currently, our SRO has been rotating between all of our schools, spending the majority of the time here at the high school. But as of November 1, we will have Charlie Parks will be staying here at the high school full-time, and so we'll have one full-time here at the high school. And then our new, is it, Sheriff Robbins, okay for me to say the name?
Yes,
So our second SRO will be Al Isaacs, and Al will be stationed at Bate the majority of the time, but we'll also spend a portion of his time between our two elementary schools. So we will have all schools covered, the high school full-time, probably about 80% of the time at Bate, and then the other time swinging by our elementary school. So very exciting news. I'm glad for that. And again, thank you to the Sheriff's Department for providing that service to protect our students.
Fantastic. All right. Great, thank you. All right, moving on to our district branding.
Just as a quick reminder, the board had asked for us to revisit the new logo and the new branding, and we've had a branding committee that's been working on this for some time, and so that committee reconvened a couple of different times since the last board meeting, and they proposed a new logo that they would ask the board to review and see if you approve. It is posted in the e-meeting, so you can see that. I have a copy I will hang here for the folks in the audience to see. So it's kind of a merge, it's merging the traditional anchor that you see on the wall with the old logo, with the lettering, the 4 stars that represent the 4 schools of the new logo. And so they've chose to go to the rounded anchor based on feedback from a survey that was done, to where many of the respondents said that they really wanted to keep the rope in the anchor. That's what they've chosen to do. So,
My only question is, did the committee intend for it to have 2 different colored blue, or is that just comes across on my?
So I will say that no. So it would be the same color blue. So one of the, so this is just extra information. I don't know that necessarily everybody needs to know, but we actually have this logo, the rounded logo, and we do not have the original files from that logo, and we are searching diligently to find the original electronic files. So we have just kind of photoshopped that anchor out of that original. When we find the original files, it'll be the same color blue and it will work correct. So you may have a little bit of a granular look in this logo because we're still working to search down, hunt for the original files.
I think it's fantastic. I think it was a great, good collaboration, and I think a lot of people will be happier.
I think the branding committee was very pleased with this final one that they're putting forth for you this evening.
And how does that relate to the athletics?
So
I know that was kind of a separate discussion.
And so I think that the board had asked at the last board meeting, and I will ask, is this still the intent of the board to use this particular anchor, and that each athletic group could use this anchor within their logo if they use an anchor in their logo? But that if they use an anchor in their logo, ask them to use this anchor, not this entire logo, but this anchor.
Yes.
And that was what I perceived your intent at the last meeting, so I just want to clarify that that is still your intent.
Yes.
So we need to take action on this, or?
So, well, you took action on the squared anchor, so if you would like this anchor to replace that, then I would ask that you do that.
Make a motion.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, you move.
I move that we accept the anchor that has been presented with a lot of happiness.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you to
All
the
right.
committee.
Yes, thank you very much.
Fantastic.
All right. Thank you. All right, Mr. Dean, moving on to our reports, the first one being the finance report, financial statements.
Okay, you should have a copy of the September 2018 financial statement. began the month with $5,291,790, took in total receipts of $1,522,463. And then we expended for accounts payable or claims a total of $508,784, and in payroll for the month of September was $1,316,273. So we ended the month of September with a balance of $4,988,951. You can kind of look as a comparison and see where we are this year as compared to last year. In the middle is a breakdown by the bank balance and the outstanding deposits. And then down at the bottom, I just want to point out, you can see, like I said, kind of a comparison between last year and this year. You'll notice that the general fund unassigned balance is roughly the same, actually a little bit better than it was last year. Where the reduction comes in is the amount for basically assigned maintenance that we had set aside of $1 million at this time last year, and then we've subsequently spent the majority of that, and we're down to $399, $374 right now that we're going to be using for the softball field. Some other items you can see there's a reduction. Part of that is due to the construction fund, where we were at $776 last time. We're at $570, $883 right now as we continue with the Hogsett project and wrapping up the Tolliver project. Some other items, some increases. You can look down through there and see our district activity funds were increased. We've got an increase in our capital outlay cash and our building fund cash compared to last year, basically because we had some extra monies from last year that rolled into this year, and then also our food service is up about $63,500 from where it was last year. At the bottom, I'll kind of do a summary of the construction fund for the Hogsett project. As of right now, I've got to check with them. In the past on the Tolliver project, they were sending us interest monthly, but it looks like from what I can tell right now, they're doing it on a quarterly basis, so I've got to talk to them and see if they will switch that to where they'll just start rolling the interest to us on a monthly basis. So I've got to touch base with Farmers Bank on that. Just to give you an update, tax bills went out on the 15th. It took us all the way till Wednesday for people to start coming in and paying their tax bills. So just to give you a little heads up, in the 3 days last week, we took in 279 tax bills already for a net amount of almost $172,000. So that process has started, and it'll build our general fund, start building our general fund back up.
I make a motion for the approval of the financial report as submitted.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, moving on to the payment of invoices.
Okay, as was stated earlier, our total payables or claims for the month of September were $508,784. Just to hit some of the highlights for the month of September, we did have $31,761 for the Tolliver construction and renovation project. We also put in $5,560 for playground fencing. We incurred architect fees and asbestos inspection for the Hogsett project, totaling almost $100,000. We did not have any bank principal and interest payments due during the month of September. So actually that left us with about $373,287 for our routine monthly expenditures: instructional supplies, repairs, maintenance, utilities, food service, and other items. Just to hit some the notable expenditures that occurred during the month. For facilities, we spent $28,500 rekeying the high school, John W. Bate Middle School, and Jenny Rogers. Spent $9,625 for some Admiral Stadium fencing, $8,300 for high school HVAC frequency drives, and then we also did a replacement HVAC unit at the middle school for $11,680, and we also purchased a floor machine for John W. Bate at $5,800. Instruction and curriculum, we had DHS site licenses at $6,100. District Destiny Library Management Software license, which is for our libraries, $3,843. And then for Hogsett and Tolliver, some RAS Plus software renewal and new licenses, $6,715. And then we also had some expenditures out of our Striving Readers grant Kentucky Writing Project teacher fees of $6,000 and some literacy curriculum mapping of $7,497. Any questions on any of them?
Make a motion for the approval of the payment of invoices totaling $508,784.27 as presented.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Paul.
you. And then, moving on to the consent agenda.
I move that we approve the consent agenda for approval without discussion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Let's see, I have just one person who's interested in speaking tonight, Mr. Dampier.
Hello,
How are you?
I'm good. My name is Donnie Dampier, and I just want to speak on the softball agenda. But it sounds like everything went great tonight, moving forward, so I'll keep it short and sweet. A lot of these girls, well, the seniors that are there now, I coached at Bate, and I really hope to have it pushed through so those girls would have a field, their own field to play on. But it sounds like that might be tough with everything that's got to go through, with approval, this, that, and the other. So I just want to make sure it stays on the front burner, and I know you all haven't seen a lot of softball parents in here. That doesn't mean that we're not, interested, talking behind the scenes. I think it was Anderson County that had the junior ROTC I saw on the news, and they had people lined all the way around the back and probably 100 people in there. Our numbers are low. That doesn't mean that we're not concerned for the girls. Danville's a great school. My son played here. The facilities are top-notch, but softball is not. I mean, if we go to Garrett County, not knocking Garrett County, their facilities are great. I mean, compared to what we have, and our girls deserve just as much, if not more, than what the other, programs around here have. Mercer County's field is great. I wish we could push it through and get it done, for the spring this year. And I did. My question to you all is, what are we going to put in place so another curveball doesn't come in? It says, look, we need $50,000 here, $50,000 there. Let's move the softball field another year. That's my concern, because that can't happen. I mean, you all seem like you're in pretty much good agreement. The numbers seem like they're going the right direction. Sometimes you just got to take a chance and say, let's do it and move forward. I mean, with all the extra things that are getting added to, I'm not calling the sports out. You all mentioned some of them tonight. It's like, come on, it's time for the girls. So that's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. And at this time, we do not need an executive session, so I'll make a motion or
Make a motion.
to adjourn.
To adjourn.
Yes.
Second. All those in favor? Meeting adjourned.